Hello YouTube, Trenzel here for your self-growth. And you know the thing about authenticity? Everyone expects you to be authentic and share all of yourself, share who you are, share. But they don't take into consideration your boundaries. Boundaries are very important. Boundaries are supposed to complement authenticity, not erase them. It's not supposed to totally erase authenticity, having boundaries. For example, have you had a conversation with someone whereas, especially maybe you're dating a person or you're thinking about dating them or you go out somewhere, whatever the case may be. And they ask, well, what's your body count? But maybe you don't care about that question. Maybe it bothers you. If it bothers you, you would be like, well, I'm not comfortable answering that right now. I don't know you all that well. We haven't been out long enough, whatever the case may be. So you're not all that comfortable answering the question. And they might get upset for whatever reason. They say, well, you're not being open. You're not being honest. You're not telling me what's going on. You're not telling me what the case is. But that's your boundary. Like they asked you something that you weren't comfortable with. And you answered honestly and authentically. See, that's the key. You answered authentically by sharing with them what your boundaries were. But they expect to skip from step 1 all the way to step 10, when they haven't even passed step 1 yet. Another example is how friends, you might be expected, if you're a true friend with me, if you really are my friend, then you'll tell me what's going on, how it's going on, everything that's happening. Tell me about your problems. Well, maybe I don't want to talk about my problems. Maybe I'm not comfortable in this moment talking about my problems. Maybe my issues are my own issues and they're not for you to worry about. Maybe I have something personal that's going on with me that I don't want to share. You ask for a day off at work. Why do you need a day off? That's my business. Maybe my day off has something personal. It's for personal reasons. Well, what's those? What do you mean, what's those? I heard the saying, mind the business that pays you. It reminds me of that. Mind the business that pays you. But you say that, you people get even more upset. Like, well, why don't you want to say now? Well, what's going on? Well, you hit a boundary. You said something. You mentioned something I'm not comfortable sharing. And instead of leaving it at that, people get upset. People get real upset with you. We don't tell them what they want to hear about you. As if they're owed the information, as if they're entitled to the information, as if they're your husband or your wife or your mother or your father. You have things that you're not comfortable sharing with certain people. Authenticity doesn't mean you share everything about yourself. It means that when you want to share, you're not afraid to share. That's authenticity. When you want to share, when you feel it, when you feel the need to speak up. When they ask, what are the problems at work? What are the issues? When management asks a question like that, and you want to say something, but you keep it to yourself, then perhaps you're not being authentic because you wanted to say something, but you didn't. But if there was a time where you're like, I don't want to say anything, and people are pressuring you into saying something, that's not authenticity. That's them. That's on them. That's their issue. That don't have anything to do with you. What they want is separate from what you want, and you must learn to separate what you want from what other people want, because what they want is a reflection of them, not you. So friends expecting you to share, getting back to my previous example, friends expecting you to share in ways that you're not comfortable with, expecting you to tell them your problems. Well, if you're a real friend, you tell me what the issues were, what the problems were. That's not how that works. Perhaps we're not close enough. Perhaps I'm not comfortable enough. People underestimate the value of being comfortable, of making someone comfortable, of making someone feel embraced and comfortable enough to share. But even if you do that, you're not entitled to the information that someone does not want to share with you. You will get so much further with people, so much further, by accepting that they don't want to share and be like, okay, that's fine, and dropping the subject and say, okay, that's fine, let's talk about something else. You'll get so much further with someone by respecting their boundaries and respecting what they want than making it about you and what you want to know. Another example is with influencers. Influencers might be expected to share more and more of themselves to prove that they are authentic, to prove that they are being themselves. But therein lies another problem, because if you overshare when you're not ready to, that's not being authentic. That's you betraying yourself. And by the same logic, even if you're not an influencer, even if you're talking to regular everyday people, if you expect it to share something that you're not comfortable with and you do it anyways, and you're oversharing, regardless of whether you accept it for it or not, you're doing something that you weren't comfortable with, that you aren't comfortable with. And when you do something that you're not comfortable with, you betray yourself. And these, like so many other ways that you can betray yourself, these things add up, add up, add up. They accumulate. And then you find yourself not trusting yourself, not fully believing in yourself, not having faith in yourself, not trusting, hey, this is my boundary. If you don't respect your own boundaries, how do you expect someone else to respect them? Respecting your boundaries comes with you respecting your own boundaries first before you can expect someone else to do it. And you have to be firm. And people won't always like it. But that's why you make it about you, not them. So I want to stress the point that authenticity does not equal total access. And that authenticity complements boundaries. It does not erase them. So with this discussion, I want you to consider what your boundaries are. Consider what they are, and consider why you have them. What they are, why you have them, why they're important to you. And hold on to your reasons. Hold on to your why. Keep it close to your heart, because your personal reason is valuable to you and it is important to you. It's what separates you from other people, because your boundaries is going to be different from everyone else's boundaries. And in partnerships, it's important to discuss what your boundaries are, because everyone has different boundaries and different interpretations. So a great example of this is cheating. Everyone, well, not everyone, let me not misspeak, but so many people have so many different feelings about cheating, and there's a lot, it's very high emotion and all that, and you feel like you're totally betrayed if someone does that to you, so on and so forth, and that's all fine. But what is cheating? What is considered cheating? Now, surprisingly, at least to me, or at least, well, it's not all that surprising to me, it's actually interesting to me. But I don't think people have contemplated this enough. They get into relationships without actually having this conversation, without communicating this, and it's very important to communicate. So, my example is everyone has different boundaries when it comes to cheating. So your partner might feel like if you talking to, say, let's just use it in a boy-girl context where the girl is saying, I feel this way and that way. Let's use it in that context. So your girlfriend says, if you talk to another woman and you start saying anything even slightly flirtatious, that's cheating. That's a betrayal. You don't have to feel no type of way about it. You just have to understand that that's her boundaries. And you understand that and you say, okay, if that's her boundaries, me getting with her, I'm accepting this contract of my own free will, that this is what I'm not expected to do. This is her expectation. This is her boundary. In order to give respect to her, I must make sure that I don't talk in a flirtatious way to other females. Another girl might go up like, well, I don't really give a f- about that. You know, I don't care. you talking to other, I don't care. You talk to other people, you talking to them. Hell, who cares? But if you kiss her, no. But what if it's a peck on her cheek? No. You kissed that. You kissed her. I can't stand you. That's a total violation. That's her boundary. Then another one, you're like, oh, I don't care about that. You kiss on the cheek, who cares? But if you put it in, I don't care where it go, but if it go in, And others might be like, well, if that woman touch it, And then there's different levels to it too. Because depending on what you do and how you do it, she might, or how it goes about, she might be more mad at you, or more mad at the mistress, or at the other female. So it goes into all different things. And this works both ways too, because men have certain expectations too, which is where the term "you getting too friendly" that comes from. You being too friendly with this woman, with this man. You just too friendly. Don't be too friendly. Be cool with him. Don't be too friendly. So it's actually very interesting. For me personally, I think a good example of a boundary that I have is my exes. Now, when you're dating someone, or not even dating, even just not even transitioning to the dating stage. Let's go back a step and just in the talking stage, okay? Because there's stages to this. There's talking, dating exclusively, then y'all in a relationship, then marriage. There's stages that you go through in progressing of relationships. So let's just go to the very first stage. That's just the talking stage. Y'all just talking. And a question I might get, and it's not a rare question. It's about exes. So they would ask, "Oh, tell me about your exes. How was your relationship with your exes?" Now, this question is a difficult one for me to answer because I'm always not sure exactly how to answer it or how much information to give. So sometimes I answer and I say it was like this and like that, depending on my comfort level. Other times I just don't answer at all. And the reason for that is because people will judge you for it, for your ex, and they judge you for some of everything, which again, is not that big of a deal. People judging you, again, it's not that big, but you have to learn to get over these things. A person that you're talking to, that you're interested in judging you, is a totally different thing too. But also you have to stand in your own power and not let these things affect you too much, not let them impact you too much. It's important to do that. But when they ask, "Tell me about your exes," and I don't answer, then they get upset. They're like, "Well, what's going on here?" The reason why I would not feel comfortable talking about it is because unless you really give the whole story in high amounts of detail, they won't fully comprehend the situation. Like it'll always be, and a lot of times, oftentimes, instead of just saying, "Well, it was his fault," or "her fault," or "their fault," whatever the case is, more than it was your fault. You see what I'm saying? They assign more blame to you than is necessary. And they do that, and I can't even blame them for doing that. They do that because they don't have the full context. Say, for example, I say, "My babe wasn't paying enough attention to me," so that was a negative. I didn't like that in terms of my ex. Unless I explain and give high amounts of detail, which I don't always feel like doing. See what I'm saying? Because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to fully explain a full-on relationship. When you're with someone, especially if you're with someone for years, that takes a lot of time to fully explain a relationship so that they fully understand what's going on. And even then, unless they've experienced it themselves, they still won't fully understand. So if I use that example, they didn't pay me enough attention. Babe didn't pay me enough attention, so I didn't like that. They can easily misconstrue that as, "Well, he's too needy. I don't want a man that's that needy. That's a red flag. You too needy." When in reality, perhaps I used to be needy, but I'm not that needy now. Or perhaps I wasn't needy in the relationship at all. They just didn't pay me no attention at all. So I'm thinking to myself, instead of chancing that, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut until I know the person a bit better, the person I'm talking to a bit better. But the thing is, they'll get irritated and they'll start pushing, and they'll push your boundaries. They say, "Well, you should tell me, or you should tell me this, or you should tell me that." I want you to note when someone does that, especially someone that you're interested in. If a person that you're interested in does that to you, I want you to take note of that, especially if they're your friend or you're dating or whatever the case is. I want you to pay very close attention to them, because they do it and sometimes we don't always catch it. So I want you to pay very close attention to that, because if it happens repeatedly, it is very likely to be the case when you invest in them more, whether it's you start dating them or whether you become their best friend, it's likely to happen multiple times where they're constantly pushing your boundaries. And it's always preferable to have someone that respects your boundaries than someone that pushes them. So authenticity to me is not about lack of sharing. It's about not being afraid to share. Authenticity is about expressing yourself clearly when you need to and when you want to. Authenticity is about expressing your boundaries because boundaries complement authenticity. It's about knowing what your boundaries are, where they are, and knowing yourself well. And knowing yourself, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not comfortable with. Authenticity is wanting, needing, and expecting people to respect those boundaries. And more importantly, you respecting them. That's the most important thing. I think in the modern age where we have social media, where we're sharing so much of our lives, we share even the most mundane things in our lives. In the modern era of social media, where we're sharing so much of ourselves, we're expected to share almost every dang detail of our lives. But a favorite word of mine is balance. I love the word balance. Balance. I love that word because balance applies to so many things in our lives, because if you go too much in this direction or too much in the opposite direction, it's a problem. If you don't share anything at all, that could be an issue, a major issue. But it's also just as bad sharing too much. So in the age of social media, I want everyone to really consider how important it is not just to share, but to not share. To have things that you keep to yourself that you share with very special people. Because if everyone knows everything about you, how is there anything special about you how is there anything special about you? If you don't keep any secrets, how is there anything special about you? And I say that not in terms of you as a person not being special anymore, but in terms of you not valuing certain things about yourself. By sharing everything, that means there's nothing valuable enough to you that you would keep to yourself and share only with special people. That's what I mean. If everyone reads the diary isn't special, it's just a public book now. But if only a handful of people read the diary, it's the same thing when it comes to parties, exclusive parties or exclusive events, whereas only certain people could get in, or exclusive clubs where only certain people could get in. Those events or parties become significantly more special when they're exclusive, only certain people could get in. I think the Met Gala or whatever it's called, I don't know nothing about it. I don't know nothing about the bats. I don't know nothing about the galas. I don't know nothing about the bats or the galas. But what I do know is that Met Gala is exclusive. It is exclusive. And they ain't going to let just anybody in the Met Galas, okay? And the same thing applies with yourself. It's not about the fact that you don't share. They freaking record the Met Gala. It's on TV and socials all over the place, okay? So it's not that you don't share anything. It's that your authenticity is complemented by the fact that you don't share everything. With me, my balance personally, I would like my balance to be, because again, I have an authenticity channel. So that lends to me sharing more. And I do want to share more of myself. I want to. That's the key. If I didn't want to, if I was that person, whereas I didn't want to, that's a huge difference. But because I'm a person that wants to, see, you have to ask yourself, am I a person that wants to share or a person that wants to share less? Since I want to share, having an authenticity channel, because my channel is self-growth and authenticity. So I am hoping that by being authentic and sharing my authenticity, I can encourage other people to do the same and share. But always keep in mind, I'm not encouraging you to overshare and keep no secrets. So the point of this was to simply say that you are far more authentic sharing and not sharing. It's just about finding balance. The only thing that lacks authenticity is when you really want to share and you should share and you need to share and you keep it to yourself. That means you're hiding yourself. It's more laid back and off the cuff, and whereas I'm just talking and I'm just saying stuffs and I'm talking and saying the stuffs, okay? And so this is a special video because this is my first one where I'm talking and just saying the stuffs. Look at me. I'm branching out into other categories of self-growth stuffs. And I'm doing the basic stuffs. I'm doing my thing. So again, my outro, because I was about to forget the outros because this is like a new thing for me. This is like a new format. So there's this video, there's that video, and there's the videos. See? And they're up now with the videos. See? There's one right there, one right there. See? And I'm in my car. People looking at me crazy. People walking past like, why is he talking to a camera? He talking to his car. Nah. Bye.